Good evening. Microphones turned on, cameras turned on. It's 7 o'clock, and here we go. Welcome to Wednesday Matters, because it does. It does. Every day matters, but there's something about Wednesday when you're just trying to get through the week and you knew how it was supposed to go, and it probably hasn't because life has a way of doing that. And we need a little boost sometimes, I think. Just a little something that reminds us that all is well and that we're headed in the right direction, no matter what it looks like. And sometimes it looks great on Wednesday, and sometimes it doesn't look like it's all gelling. And
Take a little pause here.
I'm taking a little pause because I'm being told to. Yes?
You are not on your Facebook page. You are someplace else. You are not coming up on your page.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
But I had you as a messenger thing. You were a little box in Messenger.
that's not what's supposed to be happening. Brenda's there. Brenda, are you seeing me in the regular place on my Facebook page? Let me know. Happy Wednesday, Dana. Happy Wednesday, Susan.
I guess people are seeing you. I'm just not connected to that now.
Yeah, you might have gotten off on something else.
No, it's your page. There you are. Okay,
There I am.
now I see.
Okay.
Thank you. You weren't there. All right.
Sorry for the interruption, but my technical department was telling me that I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and I was just ever so sure I was. I guess I was. Anyway,
Here you are.
here I here I am now. And here you are. So, good evening, ladies. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer says I'm seeing you on your page where I'm supposed to be. Phew.
Good.
I thought, okay, I don't know what this, there's pixies. There's fairies in the works. Cac is writing a book about fairies. And people, I am here to tell you, they are alive and well in this house, and they are doing funny things. The latest of which is we have several bird feeders out in the patio, but we also have a hummingbird feeder that hangs right over the fairy garden, if you will, right over where the fairies are supposed to come in and entertain themselves. And I changed the food in the hummingbird feeder, 2 or 3 days ago. No big deal. And it's usually reddish orange. Kind of this, I used a new one and it's more toward the orange even than the red. But it was decidedly orange until yesterday. And now it's purple. Now, those of you that know CAC understand how appropriate that is. But the fairies are messing with the hummingbird feeder and the hummingbird food. And I'm kind of afraid to try to switch it out and put the red back in again because, well, the fairies like it purple. CAC certainly likes it purple. Who am I to say hummingbirds shouldn't have purple food? So, if they get involved in the workings of although since the fairies have been here, the computers have been much better. Mine has, at least. So, I figure I'll just play along with them. If they're happy, what the heck? And the hummingbirds don't seem to mind. Well, at least they haven't told me that they mind yet. So, Susan, you are just a doll. Thank you for asking. He is doing better. He's eating like a horse, which is good. They've conned us into Friskies instead of the healthy stuff. And now they're all acting like they need Friskies or they won't eat. They're going on strike. So I don't quite know what to do about that. But as long as the hummingbirds are happy, I guess the cats can be happy too with whatever's going on. Oh my. Thank you, Susan, for asking. You were so sweet to do that. Happy Wednesday, Lainey. Glad you're here. Glad I'm on my page where I'm supposed to be. So, what's on your mind? Facebook asks that, don't they, up in their little box at the top of your page? What's on your mind? And I wonder if people really answer that question honestly. What's on your mind? Good thoughts? Loving thoughts? Positive thoughts? Earth building thoughts? Um, Thoughts of beauty and wonder and the presence of something so spectacular that we can't even define it. Happy thoughts. Is that what's on your mind? Or has this been one of those days? I mean, that's one of the reasons we do Wednesday, is because very often Wednesday is one of those days. So we want to kind of counteract that with some positive thinking and maybe a little Ernest Holmes thrown in, and who knows what's liable to show up before the evening is out. I have my tea and lemon juice. My throat gets dry, so that works for me. I hope you have something liquid and refreshing to get you through this next little bit of time, and I hope that this is a good evening for you. Time well spent on yourself and your own spiritual growth and your own way of being in the world. It's a good time to be on Earth, I think. I mean, I know there are challenges out there. Don't please understand that I am saying that it's great out there. It is certainly interesting out there. But to just such a time, I believe each of us was on purpose born. That's what I think. Is that we are here for a reason. It is no mistake that we are in the midst of all of this. And we are the adults in the room. Aren't we? Are we? I'd like to think we are. I'd like to think that all of our life experiences and all of the things that we have been taught and all of the things that we have learned and all of the things that we are teaching are for just such a time as this. And that this is no time to forget. This is a time to remember and to share and to teach and to let the world know what we know so that they can be lifted up out of fear, out of chaos, out of confusion, to a higher and better and smarter and wiser place. It occurs to me, I sit here on Wednesday and I don't have my mask on, and if any of you have been wondering if I wear a mask, yes, when I go out, I wear a mask in my own home. I don't because I don't need to. There are only 2 of us, 4 cats and 2 dogs here. And so far, nobody has tested positive for anything but love and treats. But when we go out, we put on our gloves, we put on our mask, and we protect both ourselves and others. It's all about that, isn't it? Isn't it? About loving others, as we have been told to do, enough that we are willing to inconvenience ourselves and be a little bit uncomfortable so that we can save lives. Just a thought. My version, I'm not sure what yours is, but I kind of suspect I know. So here we go. It is, I've moved my mouse pad and it's not hidden on me, but I'm not used to reaching for it here. So maybe it wasn't such a hot idea after all. Isn't it funny how we do that? We get used to something, and even if it's inconvenient, we get used to it that way. So I've moved it to where it's more convenient. Now I'm not used to it and I keep reaching back. Habits. Habits. That's what I should talk about tonight, habits. But I'm not going to. I have a whole different topic for tonight, and I'm actually kind of excited about it. I started thinking about it last week, almost talked about it on Sunday, but decided that I really should at least acknowledge Father's Day, and then I got off on that and was really excited about it. Um, yes, Jennifer, it's a great time. Change is everywhere, and we are definitely a part of it. And we can be as big a part of it as we want to be. And there's nothing holding us back, which is part of what tonight's talk is all about. Dana says I'm going to start hugging strangers. Not really, but the struggle is real. Yes, the struggle is real, and the only reason you shouldn't be hugging strangers is because you shouldn't be hugging anybody. It's hard to hug somebody from 6 feet away. But we need a signal, don't we? Don't we need some sort of a signal that says, maybe that's it. Something that just says, hug for you. You know, in the same way that we learn to say thank you for your service to servicemen without actually going up and maybe saying the words, or saying the words and then also doing something else. Isn't there some way we can show the world that we love it? Work on that. Think on that. Yes, I did give a hint on Sunday. You're right, Jennifer. You're paying attention. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So let me get on with what I want to talk to you about, because I am excited about it, and I hope you will be. I think this may be the perfect group to talk to about this. And before you get offended when I get started, hear me out. All right? Stay with me. It is not my intention to offend anybody, but maybe to wake a few of us up. Get us to pay a little bit more attention to what we're paying attention to. So, what I want to talk to you about tonight is ageism, which is defined in the dictionary as stereotyping and or discrimination against individuals or groups on the basis of their age. And the dictionary says this may be casual or systematic. I would like to add that it's a whole lot more than just a word in the dictionary, and that it has become a big enough problem that the World Health Organization, you know, the WHO that we've been hearing so much about with COVID-19, is doing other things. And one of the things that they're doing is that they have begun 4 studies intended to define ageism and to identify ways to combat it. And just as I was closing my computer down at one point today, up popped a notification that the Institute for Brain Potential is presenting a webinar entitled Aging, Memory, and Super Agers. Their intention is to combat the all too common thoughts about age and brain function potential. So what do we know about ageism? Well, we know it's kind of everywhere. It can be work-related, it can be community-related, it can be family-related, or it can be self-inflicted. I'll get to that in a minute. That is, it may come from the outside or the inside. And while I don't condone ageism in any form, period, what I really want to talk to you about tonight is a very specific type of ageism. I'm going to call it auto-ageism. The ageism that we foist upon ourselves. I can remember when there was a time when if you wanted to make a case for not judging people's abilities by their age, everyone brought up a woman who was named Anna Mary Robertson Moses. Yeah, known by her nickname, Grandma Moses, the American folk artist. She began painting seriously at the age of 78. And she's often cited as an example of an individual who successfully began a career in the arts at an advanced age. She was given the nickname Grandma Moses from a reviewer at the New York Herald Tribune, and her paintings became just immensely popular. They were nostalgic. They were simple. You got them. You just got them. There was something just charming about her work. And she exhibited her work internationally into her 90s and painted, picked up the brushes and the canvas and the paint until just a few months before her death at the age of 101. Just great example. Great example. So tell me, what are you too old or too young to be doing? Ageism does, in fact, work in both directions, though most people don't talk about it the other way because they figure sooner or later you'll get older and they can catch you then. What are you stopping yourself from stepping out into the world and doing because of age? So I've got another story. And this is the one that really got me going last week. This is the one that made me say, I got to do this. A woman named Vera Lynn died last week. She was born in 1917, toward the end of the First World War, and not in a very glamorous setting. She was not the child of rich people. Her father was a plumber, and she lived outside London. Vera began singing before live audiences at the age of 7 and was already in the middle of a show business career by the late 1930s, when she was just 20-ish. Once World War II broke out, she kind of thought that was going to put an end to her career, but instead, what she thought was bad news transformed her into an icon. And not only because of one miraculous and amazing song that she sang, but because of what she did. Vera sang through the Blitz. She sang to Londoners sheltering from the bombs in the tube stations. And she sang for the troops, sometimes even by the bedsides of the wounded. She sang on the home front, she sang in the field, and after some other stops along the way, she sang to the boys of the forgotten army in Burma. Not infrequently with the Japanese rather too close for comfort. Decades later, she was awarded the Burma Star for her activities. A corporal who heard her sing there wrote, "We went mad. Never have I yelled, bellowed, hollered, or clapped so much before. We gave her an ovation, all right. She couldn't sing for 10 minutes, and she cried, too. Broken hand or not, I made it clap," he wrote. "I saw blokes crying with joy at seeing our very own Vera." After the war, Vera was honored with the title Dame Vera Margaret Lynn. And she was and is widely known as the force's sweetheart. And Vera didn't stop with the war. She remained popular long after, appearing on radio and television in the United Kingdom and the United States, and recording such hits as Auf Wiedersehen. Her last single, I Love This Land, was released to mark the end of the Falklands War in 2009. And at the age of 92, She became the oldest living artist to top the UK albums chart with the compilation album We'll Meet Again, the very best of Vera Lynn. Not yet finished. In 2014, she released the collection Vera Lynn National Treasure. And not finished yet. In 2017, she released Vera Lynn 100, a compilation album of her hits to commemorate her 100th birthday. It was a number 3 hit on the British hit parade, making her the first centenarian ever to have a top 10 album in the British charts. The songs that are most notably her own were We'll Meet Again, The White Cliffs of Dover, A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square, but there were so many more. If you still haven't made the connection, We'll Meet Again played over the bombs and the credits at the end of Dr. Strangelove. Now are you connecting? In addition to her singing, Vera devoted much time and energy to charity work. She connected with ex-servicemen, she connected with disabled children, and even breast cancer. And in the year 2000, she was named the Briton who best exemplified the spirit of the 20th century. Oh my God, Vera. What a woman. On the charts, over the age of 100, breaking records over the age of 100. So what are you not doing that you could be doing because you thought it was too late for you? I'm not saying lie about your age. I'm saying don't lie about your possibilities. Satchel Paige said, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you are? The Golden Girls. The Golden Girls. Among them, Betty White, who is right around 100, isn't she? 97. Getting up there. Not quite up to Vera yet, but moving right along. The Golden Girls were golden because they made us laugh. 98. Brilliantly. She's 98. Thank you. They were not golden because of how old they were, but because they inspired us to take the leap and do outrageous things at any age. So what if it is going to take a year, or 5 years, or 10 years to learn or to be qualified to do what you want to do? How old will you be in a year, or 5 years, or 10 years if you don't do it? I am inspired by people who step out of their comfort zone and do things the world thinks that they are too old to do. That takes nerve. Jumping out of airplanes and doing outrageous things, driving fast cars, that sort of thing. But I am even more inspired by people who step out of their comfort zone and do things they think they are too old to do, because that takes courage and it takes faith in themselves. Age is what we make it to be, and there is nothing that it has to be. Do you ever watch Grace and Frankie? Jane Fonda's in her 80s. And I should look so good. And Lily Tomlin's holding up real well, too. They're having fun. They're doing what they love to do. They are not letting a calendar dictate the process of their lives. Ernest Holmes wrote, "There can never come a time when we stop progressing. Age is an illusion. Limitation is a mistake. Unhappiness is ignorance." We are not what we may appear to be, my friends. We are first and foremost spirit. And spirit is ageless. We've got to start talking to ourselves differently, to remind ourselves that we are more than the statistics on our driver's licenses and our birth certificates. We've got to form a new mental atmosphere around ourselves and talk to ourselves as though we really liked who we were talking about, as though we really want to support that person in living life to the fullest. Instead of, "I'm too old to," how about, "I'm finally old enough to"? Instead of, "Look at this gray hair," how about, "Look at my new highlights. I've earned every one of them." Instead of, "Look at these wrinkles," how about, "Look at these signs of the life I have lived"? Instead of, "I'm getting old," how about, "I'm getting on with life"? So what if you're not as young as you once were? Do you really want to go through all that again? Why not start here where you are with the wisdom and the lessons that you have learned and use them to build an even better life? How about that? What say you? Short of commissioning your own version of the picture of Dorian Gray, what words can best lift the ageism out of your vocabulary and put life back into your step? Vera Lynn inspired me. You inspire me. What inspires you? What if the golden years are not a myth, but a prophecy? What if being golden is so about being filled with the light of spirit at any age that we absolutely glow from the inside out? You know, we seem to have a special Wednesday Matters meditation about the golden mist that I know I just did last week, but it seems so wonderfully appropriate for tonight's subject. And I know I usually wait till the end of the hour, but I'm guided to do it now. Shall we? The meditation, of course, is borrowed from Andrew Harvey. And I invite you to practice using your name for God in this, whatever that may be for you. So let's take a moment. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And repeating your name for God silently in your mind, I invite you to breathe in a deep, dazzling golden mist. A mist as powerful and bright as the sun. A mist so beautiful that it glitters. And again, thinking of your name for God, breathe in the splendid golden mist. Fill yourself with it. With each inhalation, allow it to fill your body and become you. Breathe in the golden mist. And when you exhale, breathe out fear, confusion, limitation, ageism, everything and anything that stands in the way of your recognition of yourself as an unlimited divine being. Breathe in the golden mist. Be filled with it. And breathe out with the same power that you breathed in. Again. Again. And again. Breathe in the golden mist. Breathe out the fear. And again. Breathing out powerfully until there is simply none of that limitation remaining in you. There is an inner alchemy taking place. You are changing. You are turning dross into gold. Now thinking the name of God, your name of God. Breathe in the dazzling golden mist. And once more breathe out any remaining doubt or fear. And know that in doing so, you are transformed. These times, these sometimes chaotic, painful, and confusing times, invite alchemical transformation, turning the dross of our fear into the gold of our visions, the gold of our lives. In these times, we connect with the infinite, unlimited power. And when we do that, we will discover that it has been with us all along. Turning to gold. May we be transformed by the rediscovery of our divinity and the renewing of our minds. We live in a golden mist, and so it is. Several decades ago, in counted time, Joni Mitchell wrote, "We are stardust. We are golden. And we have to get ourselves back to the garden." The words change in the last verse of the song. She wrote, "We are stardust. We are golden. We are caught in the devil's bargain. And we've got to get ourselves back to the garden." The bargain with the devil created the illusion that in Eden we were blessed, and that in moving into the world we were cursed with, among other things, the awareness of aging. Let us opt out of the bargain we have made with the devils who believe aging should be anything other than a recording of wisdom and a celebration of the passage of time. Let us make a new contract with spirit. A spirit spirit that allows us to shine its light as long as we choose, in whatever manner we choose, and be brilliant. Tonight, let us decide to be what we were born to be, what we were made to be, what we are here to be. Let us transform from dust to stardust. Let us be golden. And then let us get back to the business of rebuilding the garden. There is work for us to do at any age. As stardust, as golden, we can do it. I'm reading your comments. Jennifer wants to be Frankie when she grows up. Yeah, I want to be Grace. I like the clothes. Although you find me in ethnic-y looking things probably more often, so, my Frankie side shows too. Dana. Oh, my ladies. I worry sometimes about setting you all loose on the world and just what you may get into. So make me right, would you? Make me right. Get out there and stir things up. If you want to wear purple and put on a red hat, go for it. Or just wear your Frankie ethnic clothes and get out there and stir the pot. The good thing, I think, about getting older, and there is a lot to be said for it, one of the really good things is that people assume you're wise, so they kind of listen. I remember when I first started at the Burbank Church, I'm not going to tell you how old I was, although some of you probably have figured it out or already know. I happily told them then, because they all thought I was younger than I was. And following a man who was older and much more conservative and a whole lot taller, I kind of looked like a child. And I think I wanted them to know how old I was because I wanted them to know I had some life in me. But several of them were a lot older than I was, and they kind of looked at me and said, "So you think you're wise, huh?" And basically my answer was, I don't know if I'm wise or not. I know the science of mind. And I love teaching it. Some of them left. Some of those ladies left and went to another church because they just couldn't get used to a young female minister. What can I tell you? I don't feel any older than I did then. I really don't. I look in the mirror and say, yep, added a year or two. I look at, we have our family meetings on Sunday. I have told you about that. And I look at my two sons, both of whom, excuse me, both of whom are using stay-at-home orders as an excuse to grow a beard. It's the only reason I kind of like the stay-at-home orders to go away. because it's hard for me to look at these two old men with gray beards that that are my children. Gratefully, my daughter still looks young and beautiful, and I focus on her. It's just hard for me to believe that they are old enough to grow beards, let alone to grow gray beards. I have told them about Clairol. It just doesn't seem to make a difference to them. Oh dear. So, my ladies, what are you gonna do? What can you do this week to stir things up? To cause a little wise havoc in the world? What can you do?
Now you're scaring me. You're inciting them.
I am inciting them. Cax says I'm scaring her. Good. Good. Good, Laura. Yeah. I don't know if I can say that on. Can I say that on Facebook? Just read the side comments so you know what Laura said, because it's really good.
Wise donkey.
Wise donkey, yes. Wise or wise donkey is what she said. I don't know what the rules are on Facebook, so I don't want to get kicked off because Zoom only allows you 40 minutes, and you know how I love to talk. So what are you going to do? Come on, give me some ideas. What can you do to stir things up this week? What can you do to prove that age gives you rights, not wrinkles? What can you do to make the world a better place? To help rebuild the garden. See, I don't think we were ever kicked out of the garden. Ever. Why would God create something like that and say because you ate an apple out and never come back and suffer for the rest of your life? That's last week's talk, wasn't it? Suffering. Why? I don't even want a God like that. Do you? So if God created all of this beauty, and we've still got the flowers, we've still got the sun, and the sun sets, and the sun rises, and the mountains, and the oceans, we've still got all this magnificent beauty. I think we've never left the garden. What happened when they bit into the apple from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil was that they became aware of things that could go wrong. And we're still living in the illusion or delusion. We're still living with the thought that somebody screwed up and we're supposed to suffer, and that it has to be hard to be good, and all the rest of that stuff. And I don't think any of that is true. Just saying. So what can we do to recreate the garden? To truly make it heaven on earth? Peacock colors in your hair. Oh, I like that idea, Jen. Will you send us a picture? Oh, I'd like that. Oh, Dana wants to do it too. Oh, great. Great. We're going to have peacock feathered colors and stuff. Y'all have to post pictures if you do that. You have to do that. I don't think I want to do that. That's not me. Although I can definitely see the two of you doing it. Cax had purple hair before. Mostly it was, like red with like purple glowy kind of thing. She's never gone like purple. But she had it a color at one point where we got into an elevator together, and a child looked at his mother and went, "That lady has purple hair." And we've had just women on their own, generally older, who with a sense of kind of awe, appreciation, and shock said, "Your hair is purple," and didn't quite know what to do with that piece of information. So that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. I don't know what I can do. I'm going to have to think about this. what I can do to stir the pot. I mean, if I'm inciting you, I should probably incite myself as well, don't you think? So, all suggestions welcome, but not necessarily accepted. I know you can be naughty, and the fairies are at work in this house, so I have to be very, very careful. What can you do? Come on, be thinking about it. Laura, what are you going to do? You're a good stirrer-upper. I know you are. What can you do? I'm afraid to ask Dana specifically. She's liable to do anything. She's a crazy woman. Brenda, how about you, darling? What can we do to rebuild the garden? We were outside yesterday. Cac has created a fairy garden. The one that the hummingbird feeder with the purple hummingbird food hangs over. And it's wonderful. There are splashes of color everywhere. There are plants that are this tall that you can just see as being covering for the fairies to hide under if it gets wet or rainy. There are big flat rocks that they can dance on if they want to do that. There's a wishing well. And there's, of course, a portal for them to come through. But mostly there are these splashes of color. And it started out about this big, around a fairy ring that's about that big. And it's grown. They've kind of taken over that whole side of the garden. Their flowers just kept spreading out in all directions. And it's wonderful. It's just wonderful. You look out there when the morning light is on it, and the colors just shine brightly through the mist. It's fabulous. I love it. Cac said today she was going to put out some more of those like solar lights for them so that they can see at night better when the marine layer is still coming in and it gets kind of foggy. So we want to make sure that they can see. I'm a little worried about what they'll do when they can see in the mist, but not a lot. They're friendly. They just kind of like to do naughty things. And I suspect if they're listening, some of them are going to put peacock colors in their hair tonight just to see what that looks like. Mm-hmm. Cac says, mm-hmm. They're very cool. They're very cool. And I'll keep you updated on the hummingbird feeder and whether or not the hummingbirds like their nectar to be purple. But I can't imagine why they wouldn't. I mean, why not? Purple's a perfectly fabulous color for fairies. Fairies like purple too, I'm told. Which is probably why they turned to hummingbird food that color. They just do naughty things, but fun naughty things and not harmful naughty things so far. So, what else are you going to do? I'm looking here, I'm looking.
Susan's doing random acts of kindness. Brenda Rendell's is, she cuts her hair and people think it's crazy.
I bet it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Random acts of kindness, anonymously done. I've always loved that. I've always loved that.
Laura's gonna stop editing so much.
You know, sometimes we do need to turn it off, don't we? Don't we? Overthinking things. And we sit and we overthink, and then the next thing we know, we haven't done what we were going to do because we were so busy thinking about it, we never got around to doing it. So just go for it.
Brenda's gonna send a lot of love out too.
Great. Great. Jennifer's going to make some emotional bombs to toss. Happy stuff. What a great idea. You can do that. Nobody has to see him. Just Haven't you ever been someplace where you listen to people talk and you just wanted to throw an emotional bomb in there? Just wanted to say, be happy. Get over it. Quit complaining. Get on with life. Come on. Life's too short to be complaining. Send a lot of love out. Yeah, you betcha. You betcha. And prayers. Pray for people you don't even know. Pray for people you don't even know. Pray for the unhappy. Pray for the sick. Pray for the distressed. Pray for those whose minds are in chaos. Pray for the confused. Pray for the sad. Pray for the frustrated. You don't have to join them. Pray for them. Know that the world is changing for good. For good. That what we are seeing now, besides the cat that is trying to crawl up on my lap, what we are seeing now is a world that is transforming, that is working its way back to the garden, and there is much we must do to get there. We can rush ahead and be the gardeners, or we can help pave the path and then call others to join us. Yes, send out that love. Be an inspiration. Be a world changer. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You don't have to go out into the world, although half the fun sometimes is doing that and surprising people. Do something outrageous this week that will make the world a better place. And that may just be peacock colors in your hair. It may be praying. Praying's not outrageous. It's kind of what we do. But let's do that too. And then let's check back in with each other and just see what we've stirred up. See what we've done. So before we go, how about we pray? Jennifer, this is wonderful, and so I'm going to read it in case anyone missed it. Jennifer says, we are at an opening point or precipice. Time for a radical change. Brenda follows that up with, we call it good. Let's call it good. Let's make it good. Let's pray. You know what I'm going to say at the beginning, but I'm going to say it nonetheless. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Or just soft focus. Turn your attention inward. Because the world can deceive you or confuse you. But what is within knows the truth. And so we turn there when we pray. There is light within, and wisdom. And a golden mist, and beyond that, the divine. And we are made of star stuff. We are golden. It is a magical night, my friends. The alchemy has done its work. And we are ready to step through our fears, through our false sense of limitation, to do the work of rebuilding the garden. We are stardust. We are golden. We are blessed and blessing. And we each, in listening to our hearts, know what we are called to do. And it is good. It is so very, very good. We each of us in our own way hear the voice that calls us. We feel its presence. We know its desire within us. And we respond. We pray tonight for those who are still in confusion or fear or lack, for those who are afraid of the world, that they might begin to get a glimpse of the garden. That they might be lifted up and find joy and love and wholeness and peace. And we pray too for ourselves that we might remember. That we do not forget the transformation, the magic, or our commitment to be part of it. And I am deeply grateful for the difference that each of us makes in the world because of our time spent here tonight and our remembrance. And I know that we make a difference because we are stardust and we are golden and we are paving the way back to the garden. And so it is. you. You inspire me. I am so very grateful for you. I'll see you Sunday. And back here next Wednesday. And we'll see what we can stir up between now and then. Whatever it is you are into whatever it is you go, know that you go with God, because you can go no other way. And so it is. Good night.